Hey everybody, welcome to the third installment of how to play the Middle-earth strategy battle game, the Battle of Osgiliath. We're back with part 3. This is the Hunters or the Hunted, basically, as we work through these learn to play missions. Faramir has now arrived on the battlefield and has encountered a Mordor Troll. We're going to be learning 3 new things today as we sort of layer on rules, the rules for Wargear, monsters, and reinforcements. Which will add another sort of dimension to the gameplay. So we used some weapons in Wargear in the first 2 games that are sort of unavoidable in the model, like shields and spears and bows, but we have some new weapons here like hand-and-a-half weapons and maces that we can try out special strikes for, as well as these special rules for monsters. So we'll show you the table, show you these new rules, and get this mission underway. So before we dive in though, let's look at my homework from last week, what I needed to get painted, and it's the biggest model in the box, the Mordor Troll, steps on the battlefield today. This terrifying monster is like a staple in bad armies and can be built a variety of ways, either as an Isengard troll, a troll drummer, or a Mordor troll. Like the only thing you can't make out of him is a troll chieftain, and he is a bad mamma jamma. 7s across the board, movement 6, fight 7. He can even beat up Aragorn. He's, of course, got a hand-and-a-half weapon, which we'll get to in a second, which is sort of a really versatile melee weapon. And, yeah, he's the target of this whole thing. If we kill him, we can win. I also finished off the last 8 Moranan orcs. You can see on my socials the paint scheme for these guys, and that completes the entirety of the infantry from this box set. That's 24 Moranan orcs, 12 Rangers of Gondor, and 12 of the Warriors of Minas Tirith. So that's all done. And then I also finished off the good heroes. So we've got, we actually finished them off last week, but you can see them again today. We've got Faramir and Madril, who are all done, the veteran Rangers, who are features in this mission. Those heroes. Faramir, Captain of Gondor. He's a man with the Gondor tag, infantry, and hero. He's fight 5, 3+ shoot with a 6-inch move, strength 4, defense 5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 6. He's pretty brave. He has heroic resolve, accuracy, strike, and defense. Is his heroic of actions, and he's got 3 might, 3 will, and 2 fate. Then Madril, the Captain of Ithilien. He's fight 4, 3+ shoot, strength 4, defense 5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, and courage 4. He's got 3 might, 1 will, and 1 fate, and he's got heroic march and heroic accuracy. 3 of them are rangers. They can all do that big bubble of everybody basically gets to re-roll their in the way test for shooting. Heroic March allows him to bring a bunch of guys with him. Even if he doesn't have priority in the turn, he can move before the person with priority and bring models within 6 inches to move with him. So basically he can like trump a charge, which is pretty cool. Now, of course, Faramir's also got Heroic Strike and Heroic Defense and Heroic Resolve. Heroic Resolve allows him and his friends to get a 6+ resist, like a free resolve, so not a free 6+ resist. It's a free resist dice, as if they had spent a point of will to resist magic spells and a big aura effect, but he can't move during the turn. Heroic Strike means he adds D6 to his fight value for the fight, and Heroic Defense means he can only be wounded on 6s during that fight phase. So all powerful abilities that make him a pretty versatile leader. Hero of Valor, which means he can lead 15 guys, whereas Madril is a hero of Fortitude, so he can lead 12. Damrod, of course, a minor hero, can lead 6. Now let's check the Troll. Move 6, 7, 5+, strength 7, defense 7, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, courage 4, armor and a hand-and-a-half hammer. He causes terror. That means if you ever want to charge him, you have to make a courage test first, and he can throw stones. If he doesn't move, he can range 12, strength 8, 5+ shot you by ripping a piece of ground up and just throwing it at you. So let's talk about weapons in Wargear. Now, typically if a model is armed with something, it'll be included visually on the model. So you can see these guys have swords, hand weapons, axes, and spears. The axe on this fella and the mace on this fella can actually have special abilities. Axe, you can make what's called a piercing strike. You can do it with a pick as well. You can increase your strength by 1 when you make a strike, but if you lose the fight, you reduce your defense by D3, because you're basically making like a big swing. Clubs and staves, like that mace, can stun. A model of the club can opt to stun their opponent. If they win the fight, instead of striking normally, they can roll a d6, and on a 5+, the victim reduces their fight value and attacks by 1, and shoot value until 6+ until the end of the next turn. Really handy at taking out heroes, because if you can just win the fight against them, they go down to fight 1, and they'll lose all those ties. It's on a 5+ to 6 if you want to try and stun a monster, though, because they're big. And finally, a hand-and-a-half weapon is basically a combination of a regular hand weapon, like a sword, and a two-handed weapon. Now, a two-handed weapon doesn't really exist in any of these models. But it's a weapon that you can choose to, well, actually, you can't choose to, you have to take a -1 to all your duel rolls. So your highest dice is reduced by 1, but you get to add 1 to all your strikes to wound rolls if you win the fight. So it hits harder, but it hits less often. Hand and a half means he can switch between fighting with it two-handed or one-handed. So he can make big swings or little swings as ever he wants. Elves often will have hand and a half weapons, but they're elven blades, which means they're even better. They don't suffer the -1 sometimes. There's a variety of other equipment you can choose too, but that's the stuff that's here on the table. Monsters, of course, are huge, and to represent that, they have access to some additional special rules they can use when they win a fight. So the first one is rend. It's pretty horrifying. You can rend instead of using your weapon. It basically means you grab someone, try and rip them to pieces. You nominate one enemy model involved in the fight, and all of the monster's attacks have to be directed at that enemy model. When you resolve a rend, compare the monster's strength against the strength of the nominated model instead of its defense. So you can wound against strength. I mean, with most heroes having strength 3 or 4, or even just infantry with strength 3, that means you're almost always wounding on 3s. Super easy to wound. It's a way of getting around high defense, heavy armored models. Then there's hurl. You can roll a d3 and add the difference in strength between the monster and the target, and that's the hurl distance. So this guy's strength 7, he'd roll d3 and add, let's say, 3 if he was attacking a strength 4 model. And then you can throw him. You straight line away from the monster. You must move that full distance, and you can collide with things and do collision damage if you manage to touch somebody with it. So you can use a person as a weapon, basically. And then the final one is barge. After you win the fight, everyone's pushed back 3 inches instead of 1. You can pick the order they're pushed back in, and you have to make way for losers too. So some people can also get pushed back even if they're not part of the combat, like spears and stuff like that that are in behind. Now afterwards, that monster can then move a full d6 inches in any direction and create a new charge, allowing it to fight a second time. So you can actually push little guys out of the way. They can tie you up to get to like those beefier heroes you want to beat up, which is pretty cool. Now you can only use a single brutal power attack if you haven't used a heroic action, and some monsters are heroes as well. So you can't do both in the same turn. Like fight a heroic combat and still barge and stuff like that. You will only get one or the other. But it gives some extra options to monsters and kind of reflects how big and cool they are on the battlefield. Last rule that we're introduced today is reinforcements, but we'll show that off when we show actually the scenario here, the hunter or the hunted. Faramir and a band of his rangers have stumbled across a hulking troll that seems to have separated from the rest of the Mordor force. If the captain of Gondor strikes quickly, it could result in a deadly threat being neutralized with little risk of a larger fight breaking out. However, should the troll resist their initial onslaught, the sounds of battle will quickly draw reinforcements from both sides into the fray. Will Faramir and his men be able to dispatch the beast, or will he fall at the hands of the monstrous foe? So designer notes, the men of Gondor were forced to take many risks defending Osgiliath. As the forces of Mordor flooded through the city, the scenario perfectly highlights the dangers faced by the defenders of Osgiliath and shows the power of monsters in Middle-earth. Alright, so the troll goes in the middle of the table. Good player has to deploy within 12 inches of the troll. The player begins with Faramir and 6 Rangers of Gondor. Now, to fight a giant monster, it's best to spread out. So I've got a Ranger, 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 and Faramir spread out to fight the troll. The remaining forces, 24 Morin and Orcs, the remaining 6 Rangers, 12 Warriors of Minas Tirith with bows, swords, and spears, and the 2 other heroes, Madril and, of course, Damrod, are in reserve. I've got my might here, so that's going to be Faramir, Madril, and Damrod. Will and then their fate at the bottom end, kept track of with some extra spare dice I have. And we are ready for turn 1. Now, special rules. Objectives. Faramir and his warriors are attempting to perform a precise strike in an effort to remove a key threat to the defenders of Osgiliath. Whereas the evil side find themselves with a unique opportunity to remove one of Gondor's most experienced and steadfast captains. The good player wins if at the end of the turn the troll has been slain. The evil player wins if Faramir has been slain. Any other, if we do basically if we both die in the same turn, it's a draw. The rules, the sound of battle. From the second turn onwards, the end of each player's move phase, roll a d6. This is the number of that player's models that can enter the board that turn. These models may select from any that haven't yet entered the game, and will enter for the board from a point along any board edge chosen by the controlling player via the rules for reinforcements. A different point can be chosen for each model. Seasoned veteran, while Madril's in the battlefield, the good player can roll 2d6 and choose the highest to see how many models arrive from reinforcements. Now, reinforcements have some additional rules in match play, and I'll go over those now. When you arrive via reinforcements, typically you arrive via warband. So the leader of the warband arrives, and then the remaining models pile in afterwards. So for instance, Damrod was leading a warband. He would walk on the board edge, his 6-inch move, and then his warband would walk on from the exact same point afterwards. Basically means warbands have to form up around their commander. And they have to stay at relative like distance from each other and can't kind of arrive willy-nilly all across the battlefield. Now in this mission in particular, because we're not using like full match play rules, the models can arrive anywhere they want. All right, so we're going into round 1. And the good player is going to have priority phase. Well, no one wants to fight this troll. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to simply sit back and not move so they don't have to get any penalties to their shooting. Now it's the troll's turn to move in the move phase. He can move 4 inches to here and then attempt to climb. This is a 2-inch wall, so he could be placed at the top if he managed to make the climb roll on a 2+. He is! So he's placed up top. Hello. That's not great. He's on our business now. All right, shoot phase. We're going to start with everyone shooting the troll, obviously. So I'll do the 6 rangers first. Target, they're all rolling their dice. So the rangers hit a shoot value of 3+. None of them moved, so there's no penalty. Now, can they hurt the troll? Strength 2 against defense 7. Yes, they can, but we're going to get to this territory where 6 is no longer wound. You need to roll a 6 followed by a 4+. It's sometimes called rolling a 7 on a 6-sided die. All right, so the 1s and 2s will go away. That lands 4 hits. And now it's a 6 to wound. He has 3 wounds, remember. And they managed to score 1, partially. They still need to roll that 4+ to actually get the damage off. They do! First wound of the troll. He has 2 remaining. All right, Faramir, it's all you, buddy. 1 shot. He's wounded. You managed to hurt him. Let's see if he gets it. He does on a 3+. Now he needs a 6 to wound again. Strength 2 against a defensive 7. So 2 against 7, he needs a 6 and a 4. So is it a 6? Oh my god, it is. And a 4? All right, well, so this is where being a hero becomes awesome. Faramir can spend a might point, make that into a 4, and get that second wound on the troll, taking it down to 1. Where were these bows the last 2 games? Holy moly. Right, end phase. The troll is in the building, though, and if Faramir dies, it's all over. So let's see who has priority. Round 2. We'll also start rolling for reinforcements this turn. And it's a tie. So the person who went first last turn goes second this turn, and that means Evil gets to go first. Now we're going to initiate a charge against multiple opponents. If your base can touch more than one, you can fight them both. The good models may now move. This ranger is going to try and help his friends. He does not make a 6, however, so he only climbs down. This one's just going to stand still, because if Faramir dies, it's all over. End of the moves phase, both sides get reinforcements. Oh, well, we're going to bring on Madril over here. He's going to walk on his 6 for the good player. Oh, sorry, starting with the player, actually, that had the priority. And we'll bring on 3 Mornin Orcs. No reason not to swarm on. And the Spirit and Support means Madril can ambush them, walk on 3, and just get ready to bow somebody. All right, shoot phase. Well, we got some Rangers here who can see 1, 2, 3. We're starting with Madril, though. He's going to try and shoot this Orc in the back. He misses, because he needed a 4, 5, or 6 to hit, because he moved. And 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 shots into that Orc right there. 2 hits on 3s. Actually, this one can't even see. Or we'll make 1 in the way roll to see if he goes by. He doesn't. It's only 1 hit, and then on a 6, no, doesn't do any damage. All right, this could be it. It is Explode O'Clock. So the monster's going to get to fight. It's 3 attack dice. He is going to just use his hand weapon normally to not get the penalty to hit. Our boy Faramir has 2 attack dice on his profile, and he's got a friend in the fight, so 3 each. All right, big troll swing. This is where the troll shines, obviously. Oh, and double 6s. All right, so even with his 2 might points, if Faramir made this a 6, the fight of 7 on the troll is going to break the tie. So he's going to get hammer-ka-slammered. So it's strength 7 against his defensive 5. Yeah, that's a 3 to wound. Oh, Faramir, you only got 2 wounds, buddy. Don't die. Ooh, he gets wounded twice. This might be the end for Faramir. Luckily, he has 2 fates. He's going to roll them both. He needs at least 1 4+. He can also modify this with might to stay alive. So both guys are driven back. Obviously, the strikes are into Faramir. Does he get him? Oh, he passes both of his fate rolls and doesn't take any wounds. It was this one lucky minute, though. You hung in there, buddy. It was the one fight. So round 3. Let's see who's going first. Go big. All right, the good guys take the initiative, and they get to move first. Faramir didn't like that none. So he's going to take a walk 1 inch, and then jump down. And land. Ah! As will this ranger. No, he falls. This ranger's knocked prone. He's going to take 2 strength 3 hits. Not die, but be prone. Ranger's going to do the same. Dropping down. 2+. He's okay. And then we're going in. We're going to double charge with Mr. Damrod. The ranger's going to sit still, take some shots, hopefully. All right, bad guy time. Well, he's going to go fight this prone guy, and we'll show you what happens when you strike a model that's prone. It's Troll O'Clock. Jump down after him. He passes the jump test. So he gets to go 3 and then 3 down. You can run, but you're just gonna die tired. And he jump charges in. Reinforcements. Now the good guys get to roll 2, pick the highest, because Damrod's on the table. Oh no, Madril's on the table, sorry. 6 to the evil's 4. Right, so these two are gonna come on and fight, because why not? Might save his friends. These guys are gonna come try and save their boss, because they really don't want to die here. Just box them in for next turn. All right, looks like everyone's engaged at this point. They could be shot by the good guys, so there is no shoot phase from the rangers up here in the buildings. And that means we're gonna go right to fighting. So let's do save the big one for last. He didn't roll a 6, actually, so he had to jump down to here. He can't actually jump down to get into base contact. Which means we do have a shot or 2. Let's say 2 that are in the way and 1 that's in the open. In the open shot from that ranger, it's gonna hit on 3+, and not too many damage. And then 2 within the way tests, 1 hits, needs a 4, 5, or 6 to get past that wall. It does, and then a 6, this could, or 6 and a 4, sorry, to kill the troll. Faramir moved his full distance, so no shooting for him, and now we're into fighting. All right, starting over here, we have a warrior of Minas Tirith and Madril fighting into this orc. He's got 2 attacks base, +1 for the friend in combat with him, and there's 1 attack from that orc with a spear. So let's see how the fight goes. Oh, the orc gets a 6, though, and wins the fight unless Madril wants to use 1 of his might points to increase this 5 to a 6. And so now they've tied. Madril's a fight of 4, so he breaks the tie, and they drive this orc back an inch, and now get to make strikes against him. Defense 5, strength 4, that's 5s to wound on the wound table. Oh, there's not even enough might to make it happen. It added up to 5, but didn't quite kill him. The spearman's gonna fight over here into this orc with a mace. Now the orc with a mace is gonna do what's called a stun strike. Why not? We'll see if we can reduce that guy's fight value. 1 die to 1 die, and he wins, knocks him back, and on a 5+, will reduce his fight value to 1. He does! Fight value is 1 for the next turn. Now Orky Friend with the sword is fighting this prone ranger. Now prone ranger will not strike anybody if they win the fight. They make the fight roll as normal, but if they win, all they do is stand up and back off their opponent. They don't actually make any strikes. They're too busy dusting themselves off. If they lose, they become trapped, and that means they have to roll double the strikes against them for losing the combat. So it's 1 die on 1 die, and he loses, meaning he's trapped. So it's 2 dice instead of 1 for his damage rolls on 5s. And he smushes this poor ranger. That's round 3. We're into round 4. Let's see who is going first. It's the bad guys. Uh-oh. We forgot to bring on the reinforcements for the bad guys. The Gondorians came in first. That means there is lots of room for these guys to be right here at the start of the turn. It's convenient. Troll O'Clock. Troll's going to charge Faramir again. And then these guys are going to go in and start picking fights with all these Gondorian reinforcements. Much the same over here. Swings into a ranger, swings into a warrior of Gondor, and he's going to jump in and engage both these guys. Leaves 1 brave warrior Minas Tirith, plus all of these rangers who can't do very much. So he's going to make a courage check with his courage of 3. Because he is technically having his army bonus, courage 4, to try and charge that troll. He easily adds up to 10, and he passes his terror check to go fight. All the good guys are engaged in melee with bad guys, so there's no targets, so no shooting this turn. And we'll go right to the fights. Once again, we'll save the main event for the end. So 1 Gondorian spearman is fighting an orc with a spear support over here. It's a spear fight. Everybody's got spears. They're going to dance the spears. That's going to be 2 red dice for the bad guys and 1 blue dice for that 1 Gondorian. He wins the fight, though, pushes these guys back an inch, and it's strength 3 against defense 6, so it's a 6 to wound. Now over here, the spearman fighting the swordsman, 1 dice each. They tie. He has a same fight value, so on a 1 to 3, the evil player will win. On a 4 to 6, the good player. Good player wins. Pushes him back an inch, and it's again a 6 to do some damage. Right, this orc against this spearman. I always feel like when you divide the fights up, you should turn everybody around. 1 dice against 1 dice. The bad guy wins, drives him back an inch. And now strength 4 against defense 6, a 5/6 will do damage. Whoa, kills him. We have a ranger against an orc over here, so 1 dice each. The orc wins, drives the ranger back an inch. Now it's only defense 4, so a 4, 5, or 6 will do damage. No, he doesn't wound him. Fight 1 spearman over here against this guy with the club. He's gonna not stun this turn, he's gonna go for the kill. And he wins, and it's strength 4 against defense 5, so once again a 5/6 will kill him. He does. So getting work done, all right. So 2 dice for Madril and 1 for his friend against a single dice from the orc. Madril gets a 6, which means he wins, drives him back, and on a 5/6, he's strength 4 against defense 5, he'll kill him. Didn't even have to 5. Oh man, he can't seal the deal. All right, this is it for all the marbles. So it's Faramir and a friend, so 3 dice total. So 2 for Faramir, 1 for the friend, against 3 for the Mordor Troll. Now that Mordor Troll is going to be hitting, if he rolls a 6, he just auto wins the fight here because he is fight of 7. So I think Faramir is going to declare a heroic action. He's going to use a might point and add d6 to his fight value. He's already fight 5. No, he's only fight 6. Did nothing. His heroic strike did nothing. All right, so the fight roll, the troll wins handily, and there's no fate left. Oh no, strength 7, defense 5. If he gets 2, 3 pluses here, there's no fate left. That'll be game. Faramir gets crushed and dragged back to Gondor. Gets him. No, Faramir's down. The troll smushes him. And that heroic strike, of course, did absolutely nothing, and no fate remaining. There was no way to win the fight. So the 1 wound remaining troll blowing up this guy actually should have rended him, is what he could have done even. He could have wounded against his... It actually made no difference. He would have wounded against his strength. It made no difference because he only defense 5. But that's the Captain of Gondor down, and it routs the Gondorians and shows off that, yeah, Mordor Trolls are terrifying. Next week's painting is just Tenacious G there. We got to paint Gothmog for the final fall back to Minas Tirith. With the Gondorians basically routing out of Osgiliath, the battle for Minas Tirith can start and the orcs overrun the city. We'll see you for that one next Saturday. So there you go, part 3 of the Battle of Osgiliath, our how to play for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. And we'll be back with part 4 next Saturday as we conclude the how to play. And I can get to doing an actual let's play where we check out some armies, write some army lists from the actual sort of like appropriate timeline. Probably the War of the Ring is where I'll do my my first few games, expand the armies that came in the box. So big thanks for watching. We'll see you next Saturday. Till then, I'm Ash. Have a good night. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that video. There are tons of other games already recorded for you to watch. Click over to my channel page if you haven't already, and have a look through the dozens of playlists full of videos. I guarantee you'll discover a game you haven't seen played before. I put out new videos 7 days a week, and every day is themed to a different genre as I continue to explore the wider world of gaming. Of course, none of that's possible without you, the viewer, so click a like and subscribe if you'd like to stay on top of what's happening here daily. My 2 kids and I are massively grateful to be able to have the flexibility of this job so I can always maximize my time with them. If you want to support me continuing to put out this content, it's only possible because of my amazing backers on Patreon who support the studio, equipment, and model cost, as well as being how I make the bulk of my living. You can also help out by buying a t-shirt through Spreadshirt, a measuring gauge or widget from Death Ray Designs, or buying one of my games and supplements like Last Days, Gamma Wolves, and Blaster. As a way of showing my appreciation, patrons get early access to new games and supplements that I write throughout the course of the year. Huge thanks for watching, it really does help out, and happy gaming.